Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today what I thought we could do is review a show that I find interesting, only because it kind of applies to my life, which is 90 Day Fiancé. And the reason why it applies to my life is simply because I am a 90 Day Fiancé. Like, I went from the US to the country that I live in now to live with my spouse and kind of figure out life once I got here. But I think there's a lot that people don't think about when they make these decisions. Like, they don't think about some of the smaller and the bigger things that actually happen. And so what I thought I could do is spend some time with you today to kind of explain what my experience was, and hopefully we'll be able to figure it out from there.
I really wish she would have asked me if I wanted to do something like this before she brought me here. I would feel a lot more comfortable if this was something that was one-on-one.
So now that the hard part is done, it is time to decorate. I've got a pink glitter pen.
I might take some pink as well.
Where have you come from?
From New York. I came out here to meet Erika for the first time.
Yeah. That's exciting. Such like a difficult thing to imagine. Do you think either of you would move countries to be together?
I mean, we've talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it really working long distance for a very long time.
How long is a very long time for you? Because I have weddings, I'm a photographer and I have weddings booked.
I'm not trying to be difficult, but the longer the distance is between us, the larger strain it's going to put on our relationship.
I just think it's a little bit unfair to expect me to just pack up and move my entire life to another country when we're still figuring it out, you know? I am feeling really pressured by Steph because she's pretty much telling me that this relationship is not going to work unless I move to New York.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is that actually, with Stephanie and Erika, they are a really interesting couple, and I think that for a lot of reasons. Allegedly, the first gay couple that ever happened to show up on 90 Day Fiancé, and good for them. But I do find it problematic that a lot of what they did was hidden from their families. Now, don't come for me, because actually, at the end of the day, I realize that coming out is a very difficult thing to do, and I've done that. And I grew up in a very conservative Christian/Catholic household, and it was hard for my parents, and even to this day, I still feel like it's never going to suit them. Like, they're never going to be completely approving of my marriage. I also never introduced any of my partners to my parents before until I got married. And that was simply because I wanted to respect them. Now, that being said, Stephanie and Erika are a problem because Stephanie, allegedly, now I've never seen it and I don't subscribe to it, has an account, whether it's on Patreon, OnlyFans, whatever it is, where she shows a little bit more than, we probably might want to see. I'm not sure. I don't want to see it, but maybe you do. And in that time, she has found a way to make some money off of maybe putting herself out there a little bit more provocatively. Now, my thing is that, you do you. If that's how you want to live, if that's how you want to be, then that's not my gig to tell you how to live or how not to live. But then when she showed up to her, partners or Erika's house, whatever she is, her girlfriend, her spouse, I don't know, she acted like she didn't want to be intimate. Now, you could understand why Erika would have a problem with that, but at the end of the day, it's one of those where just let's follow along. But moving to a different country, I don't think that a lot of people take this into consideration, and I just wish that, actually, I would have been in a different space when I made that decision as well. Very luckily, I have a job where it went from one country to the other very seamlessly. But I don't think that people on this show think about, or people that are willing to move like that, think about a lot of these other things. Like, for example, like your credit score doesn't transfer over. You have to like start from like scratch from like with credit. You have to find a new job. You have to understand how things work. I remember when I moved to the country that I live in now, I had to like figure out how a bank worked. It wasn't just like I could go online and just get a bank, right? Like I couldn't get a bank account. It's not even called a checking account in the country that I live in. And I think that like the smaller and simplest things like that are things that people don't take into consideration. And I think that the people who are with these people also, they don't understand what a life transition that is. So in this clip we saw where Erika was like, but I have a job, I have friends, I have, that's, you know, everything else. Well, that's a lot to give up. It's a lot to give up. Now, I will say to this day that I miss my family dearly. And actually, I wish that it would have been easier to spend time with them. But you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And I don't think that a lot of people on this show take that into consideration. But I also think that in this particular instance, Stephanie is not considering what this means for Erika. Her job is there. Yeah, I guess you could be a photographer anywhere. It's not like it requires a license, you know, whatever else. But a lot of that is, I would assume, through word of mouth. And it's through social media that you would get certain people to contact you, etc. And so for you to go just like throw whatever contacts you have away and start again is a really difficult thing to do. To imagine that you have a life with no family, or her family's in Australia. From the country that I live in now to where my parents live is about an 11-hour flight. So I get that. To think about, you know, giving up your friends. I have a few friends that I miss dearly. I really do. And they you know, they FaceTime me in the middle of the night because the time differences aren't the same. And, the times aren't the same. And so it gets to be really troubling. And then on top of that, I don't think that a lot of these people realize that it can become a real control issue, in my opinion. I do think that my husband allowed me to figure a lot of this out on my own, learning how to drive in this country, learning how to do the most simple things, like even using like, you know, credit cards. How does that work? Bank cards. How does that work here? I was left to my own devices. And I think a lot of these people like Darcy and the rest, they do those things because they know that that person is now under their control. And that is something that I think that you have to take into consideration when you think about these things. I mean, I remember I moved here and I had 3 suitcases. I paid the airline. I don't want to say which one, but I paid that airline like almost $300. And somehow I took my big apartment and got rid of a lot. I took a lot to like Goodwill and like other charities. And I literally moved here with 3 suitcases and I stayed in a hotel because I had to wait for my partner to arrive where I had landed to bring us home. And can you imagine what that's like? You have given up all these things, and now you're subjected to somebody else's like life, right? Like you have to go there, and their friends are important to them, and now they have to become your friends because you don't know anybody, and it's a tricky situation. It really is. I mean, not even probably. It is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Luckily, I had a good friend of mine who told me, she's like, if I knew anybody that could do this and make it happen, it would be you. I was resilient enough to do that. I look back at a lot of it, and I don't regret a single thing that I've done, but it is hard. And I think that when people are watching the show, they forget about like the everyday things that you do that don't exist in another country. For example, in the city that I lived in the U.S., I used to, this is going to sound really bad, I'm so sorry. There was a convenience store that was there, and I had to, I mean, it was like a 2-minute drive, right? In the country that I live in now, I would have just walked there. but it's like a completely different mentality, and I don't think that a lot of the people on the show, Angela, Michael, you know, you have Varia and whatever his name is, you have all these people, and they don't think about how it completely changes your life. Never mind like the visa and immigration process. I mean, luckily I'm now a dual citizen of the US and the country I live in now, but that is an expensive process where you have to have documents, you have to have all kinds of things that allow you to prove that your relationship is genuine. So like when we talk about this Ukraine guy, I can't even think of their name, sorry. He went to the Ukraine, he was looking for this girl, and she sent him that message, and it was something like, well, why don't you just, do you want to meet and we can take a picture and start the visa process? I don't know about the US. I don't know. But in the country that I live in now, it's a very invasive process. I mean, just short of sending them like really intimate photos, I mean, it takes a lot, and it's a very expensive process. My process, I think, took us like, put it into dollars, but like $13,000 or $14,000. It's not an easy thing to do, and some of these people really take for granted the fact that, you know, you can just move somewhere, but they don't think about the long-term effects. And I mean, I really wish that I could speak to some of these people and tell them what's in store for them, because it's not, it's a very difficult process. I mean, all of it must be. I mean, I can just imagine the country that I live in is really difficult to get here, and on a spouse visa and everything else. I'm sure the US is the same. But, you know, again, we have people like, what was it, Danielle, like way back in the day. She brought over that guy, and what was his name, Muhammad? And she couldn't, it just really takes the, like, it takes the mick out of everything that the whole process stands for. And it's a really difficult thing to deal with. And while I like 90 Day Fiancé, I really wish they would like really dive deep into the things that cause people problems when dealing with immigration. It's not just like you just sign up, like it's a real process. And I really feel like it I don't know. I feel like it makes it look so easy. And life is not easy, and I really wish that these people would stop and think to themselves everything they're giving up. And again, back to the original clip, this is why I'm on Erika's team, because she's at least thinking about this. She's thinking, okay, my job, my life, etc. And here you have Stephanie, who allegedly has these accounts where you can pay her to show you certain things, and she barely will, like, kiss the other girl. I mean, I just don't get it. Anyway, I'm going to end this here, but thanks for joining me, and I'll probably be back later, but never mind. Merci, au revoir.